Caroline Dowd-Higgins. Thank you for listening to Your Working Life, my podcast series featuring thought leaders in the career and personal growth arena. You spend a significant portion of your life at work, so my goal is to provide you with tools, inspiration, and resources so you can enjoy your career and love your life. And I am delighted to welcome a very special guest to the show today. Mary Byers is joining me. Mary, welcome.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Oh, I'm so excited to dive into a wonderful conversation, but let me tell our global listening audience a bit about you. Mary Byers is a member of the National Speakers Association and travels nationally providing hands-on leadership programs and facilitating strategic planning sessions for associations. She's a former association executive and has worked with a wide variety of organizations. Her passion is helping people live and work more fully. In addition, Mary is the author of 7 books, including Race for Relevance, 5 Radical Changes for Associations. And Mary has earned a degree in telecommunications from my alma mater, Indiana University, so there's a shared love there. And she is also a certified association executive. And today Mary is with us from Central Illinois, where she lives with her husband, 2 children, and a variety of pets. So I welcome the menagerie too, Mary. Mary, welcome. I want to start by asking, why the world of relevance with associations? Does this apply only to organizations, or are there takeaways for individuals as well?
Oh, Caroline, there are definitely takeaways for individuals. I like to say no relevance, no work.
So true.
And that's true whether you're a large, multi-billion-dollar company, an association, or an individual. All of us get work, get members, get customers based on the relevance we bring to the table. And I think it's important for individuals to ask, how am I relevant and how can I stay relevant? The only difference I really see between organizations and individuals is that organizations often have reserves, financial reserves that will allow them to coast, and because of that, they can rest on their laurels. And while it's true that sometimes individuals have reserves that allow them to rest on their laurels, it's much more difficult for an individual to do that than an organization. And so I think relevance is a hot topic for anyone and everyone.
I couldn't agree more. And I have to think that since our global marketplace with talent is changing so much, in 2020, our beloved millennials, 35 and younger, are going to be 50% of the workforce. So with that generational shift, there's got to be a focus on relevance as well. Any thoughts on that?
Well, if I'm in the older, quote, older generation or age-gifted generation, as I've heard some people call it, it's almost more important for me to think about where my relevance and where I fit in. If I know that eventually I may be working for a younger boss who has different values and gets work done differently, that's a question that I need to be asking. But if I'm a newer potential employee coming into the market's tight in some areas and in some places. And so I need to be asking, how can I stand out? And your relevance and what you're passionate about and what you're good at, that's what helps you create relevance. And then that's what helps you stand out in the market, regardless of your age.
So let's take that a step further. Mary, you're talking about relevance for the individual, right? Today's careerist in this rapidly changing environment. Are you working with individuals one-on-one, coaching them? Are you training and speaking to large groups? Tell me about your approach and how you help people understand their relevance.
I work both with organizations and individuals, mostly organizations, but often individuals will approach me and say, I need to know more, or I need somebody to hold me accountable. I need somebody to walk me through this. But if you're an individual who doesn't currently have a coach, there's 3 things that you can do to remain relevant in a rapidly changing environment. The first, and I call that know, do, and see. What is it that you need to know? What's going on in the market that's changing your work or may affect your work? What do you do? In other words, what is it that you bring to the table? What are you passionate about? What are you really good at? Why would somebody want to hire you? Why would they want to invest time or money into you? And the third thing is see. What are you seeing in terms of the changes? And you mentioned the global marketplace, and that certainly is changing work all over the world. Virtual working, virtual commuting, telecommuting. There have been so many things that have changed what a traditional career trajectory looks like. We don't even really have a traditional trajectory anymore. So that's what an individual needs to be asking. What is it that I know or need to know? What is it that I do that makes me valuable? And what am I seeing about the changes? And how does that affect who I am and what I do? And then more importantly, what do I need to do about it?
Excellent. I love that. Know, do, and see. Beautifully put. So, Mary, let me turn the table on you and ask, as the subject matter expert, what's the best thing you've done personally to ensure your career is meeting your expectations? Because your world changes too, as does the global marketplace.
Absolutely. A number of years ago, because I'm a strategic planning facilitator, I decided it was a good idea for me to walk the talk. So each year, toward the end of the year, I set aside a day to do my own strategic plan. And I am a solopreneur. I have a team that works around me, but each of them are independent as well. So I sit down and I simply ask, what is the one thing that would make the biggest difference for me over the next year if I were to do it? And I usually can brainstorm a page of ideas, and then I go back and look at those ideas and ask again of these ideas, which would make the biggest impact. And I choose 4 to 5 goals each year that become my own one-page strategic plan. I think every individual needs to do this as well. There's benefits to doing it on a personal level, of course, but on a professional level, I think it's a must-have, and especially if you are looking at ways to stand out and to move ahead in your career, I think it's essential. So the thing that I've done that has made the biggest difference for me is I've taken the time each year to develop a one-page strategic plan.
I love that, and that's an investment in your future, and it really empowers you to make choices and decisions that resonate with you.
And it helps look ahead so that we don't get behind the curve,
Yeah.
but we can start looking ahead and going back and asking the no, do, see questions, and then making a plan for classes I need to take, people I need to contact, things I need to learn how to do, books I might need to read. It helps with a way forward.
Beautiful. And it really helps remind us that the onus is on us to take that responsibility. And this is a perfect example. You advise so many to take their own career, take care of their own career as opposed to letting the work happen to them. So many people just let the momentum take them away, right? And their career happens by default. So what's the best way for them to be proactive?
There's 2 things, and you alluded to one of them, and that is investing in yourself. I talk to a lot of people who say, well, my company won't pay for me to go back and get advanced learning, or they won't give me a day off to go gain a new skill that I need. And if that's the case, you should be willing to take a day off, take a vacation day, or, foot the bill, even if it means saving $20 a month for your own continuing education fund. Because regardless of whether your employer pays for it or not, this is a skill or something that you're going to learn how to do that you can take with you, whether you stay there or move somewhere else. So investing in yourself, both time-wise and money-wise, is extremely important. And then the second thing is we all need to be doing environmental scanning. We all need to be looking at what's going on societally, what's going on, economically. We need to look at what's going on technologically. Most companies that go out of business if they had the foresight, they would have seen what was coming. And most individuals whose careers no longer exist, if they had been doing environmental scanning, they would have seen ahead of time, my job function probably isn't going to be around in 5 years. So what does that mean for me? Where do I need to go get new training? And how can I take what I'm passionate about and what I'm interested in and go do something else with it? So it's really the difference between being passive and being proactive, and realizing that you have more control and more power over your career than you might think.
Love it. And they do. We all have control. I think sometimes people relinquish control, and that segues to my next question. Some people just get complacent. I would even say too comfortable, and they hold back in their work. So how do you coach those individuals that get stuck?
I certainly think the one-page plan is an easy, quick way to start moving through the stuckness. But a great question to ask individually is, where am I willing to be uncomfortable?
Yeah.
And when we're comfortable, that leads to complacency. So if we don't want to be complacent, then we have to ask either, where am I uncomfortable and what am I going to do about it? Or where am I willing to be uncomfortable? It was a personal example. A couple of years ago, Excel files, more and more Excel files were coming across my desk, and I had a very limited knowledge. I knew I needed to go learn how to do it. And that meant signing up for a class. I didn't know anybody in the class. I was pretty sure that I knew less than everybody in the class. But I asked the question, how uncomfortable am I willing to be? And it was only the discomfort of walking into the class for the first 5 minutes and then realizing that everybody else was in the same boat as me. So that's just a very small example of how getting over discomfort can actually help you move to a new skill level.
I love that, Mary. You know, a mentor of mine many years ago said that discomfort really leads to expanding your comfort zone. So you're probably an Excel pro right now and are using that in ways that have really leveraged it as a tool in your career. So thank you for that. Such good advice. You have a phrase that I absolutely love, and I know this is a podcast, but I'm smiling ear to ear. You're an advocate for focus pocus. So what is that, and how does it work?
When we think about hocus pocus, we think about magic. So I've coined the term focus pocus, and it's the magic that happens when you have the ability to focus. I think a lot of what holds us back is that we're trying to do too many things, or we're trying to be all things to all people. So I encourage people to take a look at, what are you passionate about and what are you really good at? And to focus on how you can do more of those couple of things. And truly, for most of us, though, what we're really good at and passionate about will fall in 2 or 3 categories maybe. And then as you're developing your career, and as you have an opportunity to move up, and as you have an opportunity to build a team under you, you want to build a team that will allow you to focus on what you're really good at, whether it's the finance side of things, or sales, or being a visionary. And you want to do less of what you're competent at, but not very excited about. And so that focus pocus is just a quick way to remind people to get back to basics, not to try to be all things to all people. And that also encourages people to know exactly where their strengths are, rather than trying to be a generalist. To know where your strengths are. And when you know where your strengths are, then you can articulate them to current employers or future employers. And that's the magic of focus pocus.
And it really is magic, because when we find those strengths, they give us energy. And it's just a whole different experience than something that we're just good at, right? And that, I think, is the incredible difference of a skill and a strength. You might do it really well, but if it doesn't energize you, I don't think it's something worth investing a lot of your time in.
Well, and that's also where complacency comes from. We're working in a field that's either we're not interested in, we don't have a lot of energy, or we're incompetent at, and because of that, that's demoralizing and not energizing. And then it really becomes a downward spiral. And certainly when we talk about your working life, I know people would much rather have an upward spiral that is filled with leverage and momentum, rather than downward spiral.
Absolutely. So Mary, let's segue a bit into the wonderful world of Indiana University, where you and I have earned our degrees, and your degree is in telecommunication, and the world has changed a lot in that career space as well. But harken back and share with me some things that you learned during your IU tenure that have empowered you even today in your career.
I think the biggest thing I learned at IU is resourcefulness.
Mm.
And I didn't realize until later how valuable that was going to be. There have been many times in my career where I've just been stuck. I haven't known what to do next or where to go. But the one thing I learned how to do at IU was to say, I can figure this out.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's all I need to do when I'm stuck is, I don't know right now, but I know that I can figure this out. And I'm so grateful for that. I also learned, quite honestly, I think one of the valuable skills anybody learns at school, but I had the gift of learning at IU, and that truly is how to get along with other people and how to create win-win situations so that we're helping each other rather than one of us needing to win and one of us needing to lose. And I think that came from my living arrangements. It came from being on the student athletic board. It came from my minor in business and the training that I got there. So that whole tapestry of classes and the people that I just happened to go through school with really helped teach me that.
Oh, that's great, Mary. Thank you for sharing that. You know, it's fascinating. In this world of career development, I am also experiencing a lot of what I would call mid-level careerists, men and women, who are perhaps shifting from what they've done before, or maybe they're re-entering the workforce because they're empty nesters, or they just were on a career hiatus for whatever reason. Is that something you're seeing in your practice as well, that mid-level professional who's making a transition?
Absolutely. And the other thing that I'm seeing are individuals who are of traditional retirement age moving into yet another career. So
Yeah.
I don't think we have a traditional career age and stage anymore. And I think that's what really excites me about today because of technology, because of the fact that we're living longer, because of all the virtual opportunities. There are opportunities for us truly to develop a career that meets our needs and really reflects a desire to give back and to create a healthy life-work balance. But it doesn't have to be an either or anymore. It can be an and. It can be I'm working and I'm doing something that I love. So yes, I'm seeing that more and more, but it's not even just mid-career. It's what we traditionally would think of as the end of the career, but for many, that's just another new beginning.
A new beginning. Beautifully put. Mary, tell us how we can find you online. Share your website. I know millions of people listening would love to follow up with you. So how can they find you?
Thank you so much for that. MaryByers.com, MARY, B as in boy, YERS as in Sam. And I'm also on Twitter at Mary Byers.
Mary, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and expertise. Always a joy to talk with you, and I hope our paths cross in person again sometime soon.
Thank you, Caroline.
And I want to thank all of you for tuning in to Your Working Life, where my goal is to help you design your career destiny so it doesn't happen by default. Career and life satisfaction is possible, and it's time to embrace what you love doing so you can do more of it. The show is now available on iTunes, YouTube, Podbean, and Stitcher. I'm Caroline Dowd-Higgins. Take good care.